Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Drop Room. I'm your host, as always, Darth Mike, and I am joined once again by my co-host. He emerged
Hello.
from his slumber this time around.
It is I, and I am back.
We didn't have to bring in Griffin. Griffin is here, but he's in the background, in the mystical background of camera land.
I do
keeping us
apologize that you
beautiful.
don't get to see his beautiful face again, though. I do apologize for that.
He was wearing the Pit Viper specs last week, so he was looking pretty fly.
Oh yeah, he was looking like a G.
Stone Cold G. But
Yeah.
we got a lot on our plate this week. I don't know if
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys saw the lovely photo. Did it actually go out?
I hope so.
I need to check to
Did
see if
Ali
it's-
come through for us?
Did Ali come
Or
through?
did
The question
John?
is, did John come through? Did he
Yes,
approve it in
did
time?
John.
I need this to be the case.
I feel like he did no such thing.
I feel like it's just gonna be real.
No.
There's not even the tweet's not out yet. I'm sad.
No.
Sad boy hours.
This is sad
Well,
boy hours right
There's
now.
a beautiful photo, Griff. Can you throw it up on screen?
That would be
Or bring it
beautiful.
up. This is Balti's creation.
I worked long and hard on this, okay?
This was the true collaborative effort. I had the idea, I created the genesis, and Balti executed to perfection.
Yes.
True art.
It is true art. I wanna shout out whatever
Oh, there we go.
Port P or something like that. Photo P. It's like a browser Photoshop. It worked beautifully.
Janky Shoop. I've never
Yes.
actually seen this movie, Revolutionary Road. I assume, based on the Wikipedia that I read very quickly for the plot synopsis, that it's really depressing. So I'm not sure I recommend it. But the shop I do recommend.
Yes, Relegation Road is a much better film, and I feel like will just warm your heart a little bit more.
It's gonna have storylines. It's gonna have plot. It's gonna have twists, turns, upsets, drama, heartbreak, anguish, triumph. I mean, what more could you want out of a movie, Balti?
I don't need anything more. That's everything that I need. In one package. That's all I need.
So we can talk about setting the scene for this beautiful story that's going to happen, this beautiful drama, this intensity, this romance between teams in the Mountain Dew League. We can talk about a little bit of the process here, specifically the changes to the qualifying process to all leagues and specifically to the Mountain Dew League.
Yeah, ESEA is making some changes. In a word, in one word, they are changes. And I don't know if I like them. I don't know if the community likes them. Well, I've definitely seen a few things that the community has said, and to put it lightly, it's mixed. So,
mixed.
Starting with the preseason qualifying cups, I don't know how I feel about ESEA just being like, play good on this one day, and you're going. Like, it's strange, and people don't like that format a lot, where it's just like, if you play good on the day, you're good. Like, that's it.
I think it makes sense in some ways. I think it's a pretty effective method to take a team like, say, Bravado, who came in and were just head and shoulders better than their entire competition.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just, it was not fair that Bravado played. I mean, they started in Maine, right?
Yeah.
It was not fair that Bravado played Maine. It just wasn't fair to everyone else in Maine because it takes the slot away from them. So in that sense, I think it makes sense to put a team like that. Like, you don't want them playing open. You don't want them playing IM. Like, it's just going to be a slaughter. It's going to be slaughtering the youngling, Star Wars style. Just chopping down children.
Yeah.
One of the worst Star Wars movies. I don't want to call back to that anymore. But, giving them a path to just show their dominance early on, it's not quite as like an invite where like you just say, oh, we're just going to bring them in because they're better than you. Like, people can be pissed off. Like, no, you still have to let them prove it. It's a way for them to prove it, but it's an accelerated way for them to prove it. So you don't get wind up with like a Furia in IM.
Understandable. And I get that. Sheikh Zula tournament system is best because it removes abstract qualifications. You either earn the spot or you don't. I also understand that. And I feel like some players are still going to, bitch and complain. I feel like at the end of the day, there's going to be no perfect system where everybody's like, this was good. There's still going to be losers in these cups that are just like, we got put up against this team and that's not fair and blah, 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 blah. Like, there's no perfect system. And this one I feel like it's on the way to the best version of it. I don't know if this is the best version because we haven't seen it yet. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's mixed reactions from the community. So I'm mixed on it. I would assume that you're for it. You're for the preseason cups.
I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense as opposed to direct invites. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think it just
Understandable.
I think it just makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so here's something next in the ESEA changes department that may not make a ton of sense is the pre-relegation tournament that ESEA has announced, where Intact was, I don't want to say completely robbed because
they were cold shouldered. They were snubbed.
Yeah, it was a questionable decision to say the least on ESEA's part, and this is where I want to take a step back, and I want to take the words of Illuminati himself from ESEA. There is not a clear cut winner for this invite spot, and I look at all of their leagues and I go, which team hasn't lost a map to a team who didn't have a cheater on it? 16-0, back-to-back 2-0s in main playoffs, and more than likely you're going to get a 2-0 again tonight when they play Schism. Which team would that be? It's gotta think. It wasn't like GT Academy or something like that. Might have been Intact Esports. 16-0 regular season, back-to-back 2-0s in the playoffs. And ESEA, Illuminati, when he's writing it up, all right, he's probably, to be fair, it's probably not all Illuminati's fault. He's not the only guy there. He's the voice of the people at ESEA. He's typing it up and he's going, this is good. This is what we need to do. There's no clear-cut winner here. Definitely not Intact. So we're just going to go with an entirely new tournament. I don't like that.
I'll put it this way. I'd be okay with it if Intact had an invitation to the tournament.
Yes.
But they don't. That's the issue. That's the issue for me. The issue isn't that you say, okay, well, going 16-0 in main was different from like going like X, having X number of wins in advance. Like advance is clearly more competitive. Like obviously. But give them a chance, right?
Exactly.
Give them a chance. Like if you're gonna have a qualifier and there's a team that everyone's like, they should probably get that invite spot, be like, okay, maybe they should, but let's give them a chance to prove it. Let's invite them to the qualifier.
Yeah. So here's the other problem that I have. This is the first season that they're doing the relegation tournament with the addition of advanced, the new division. They're like, this is a new opportunity for ESEA. So we're going to add in this new division. There's this whole new relegation system. So it's easier move ups. It makes more sense than before, where it was kind of up and down a little bit. Now it's clear cut. 8 teams from advanced, 7 from NDL, and an invite spot. And the first season that they do it, they go, oops, can't do an invite spot because there's not a clear cut option, which there very clearly is.
What's the deal with Furia, by the way?
I don't know.
They didn't put Furia in that invite
spot. Are they just chilling? They move up to America and they're like, we're gonna get that invite spot. And ESEA is just like, no, you're not. No, you're not.
Are they gonna get invited to advance? Because they haven't played any ESEA leagues, right? Like,
well, here I imagine they would do the preseason cups. Do you have to be involved in another league? I feel like you can just kind of enter it and go through it, and if they don't make it, then I mean they could try another cup. I don't know.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So Furia is the mystery. Intact is the anomaly.
Intact is the disappointment. It's just disappointing that they don't have a chance. Like I get the logic for saying like, yeah, 16-0 main is impressive, but it's not as impressive as like we'll see if they can do it against stiffer competition. To my eyes, they proved it in a big way at Philadelphia in terms of playing against stiffer competition. But obviously that's not an ESEA event. but give them the opportunity to play it out. Give them the chance to prove their mettle, to show that they belong, that they can
Yeah.
hang with the big boys.
Yeah. It is it's a disgrace.
It's a
disgrace.
It's a
Darth.
bummer. It's a disgrace. It's a
travesty.
Disgrace. A travesty.
It is a travesty.
This is an outrage.
I'm pumped up.
Sharpen your pitchforks.
Off rage.
Sharpen your pitchforks. We're going.
Yeah.
We're gonna shout on the marketplace.
This is my pitchfork, right here.
Okay, put the weapon down.
We don't
need you threatening people. We don't need you threatening people with physical violence.
I don't know why I have so many scissors, but I do, because I'm prepared for the fight against ESEA.
In case you need to chop something very rapidly, carve yourself some nice little paper airplanes, some like origami butterflies.
Exactly.
Do one of those chains that you like hang in a preschool classroom.
Exactly. So. Yeah. On a brighter note, on a less angry note, we are coming to the close of the advanced season, the inaugural advanced season, and we are in the finals with Team 1 and Big Frames. And I believe that we have a difference of opinion of who is going to win these finals.
First off, I just want to say on the subject of Big Frames, I think the first season of advanced being a division has been a great success, and I think that it really showed that separating out the top half of Maine from the majority of Maine was a necessary step and a big difference.
Yes.
And so to that end, big shout outs to Nerfed. Jimmy, you breathe this thing into existence, whether they'll admit it or not, and it's worked out wonderfully. So golf clap. Golf clap for Nerfed.
Yes. Bravo. I did read his whole twit longer, and the whole time I'm reading, I'm just like, this makes too much sense.
Well, I'm pretty sure systems consulting is literally what he does for a living.
Yeah.
So he applied that to ESEA and it worked. And
big frames and big brains over there on that squad right there.
Next level. And now he's in the finals.
Yes. He made a division all for himself just so he could attempt to win it. It literally.
He's like, I can't be bothered putting down this trash in the majority of Maine. I need my own division.
Exactly. That was his big brain play right there. His big brain play to make a division, and then his big frame to dominate the entire league. So
playing the big frame games.
I believe, based off of your little X here, that you believe that Big Frames is gonna take the whole thing.
I think Big Frames can beat Team 1. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion, but I think this is going to be a really good matchup. Because in the regular season game, they almost beat Team 1. I mean, it was close. I think it was like a 16-14 or a 16-13. And I think Big Frames is up. I don't know. Jimmy was telling me about it. And Jimmy tells a pretty good story when he talks about a game that he thinks he should have won. He didn't win. It's been a pretty good narrative. But I was persuaded. I was like, you know what? They got what it takes. They can go toe-to-toe with Team 1. Now, Team 1 is a really good team. Don't get me wrong. They're a strong team. Powerful squad. Very good online. Good on land. I'm going to be honest. They disappointed at Frag.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Should not have lost to Mythic, but
Stranger, they just have too much clout. I don't know if Team 1 has the amount of clout to beat. I
mean, when James Hayes clout is in the server,
exactly. I don't know if anybody's clout levels reach that high.
They really don't. I mean, you have to remember with Hayes too, the man was in the quarterfinals of a major, not too long ago.
Well, I mean,
got the skills.
Okay, that's another story for another day. That gets me all kinds of triggered.
All right, triggered boy.
I'm triggered.
But anyway, back to Team 1 Big Frames. I really like what Big Frames have been doing. I really like the way he's been playing. Church, I watched him. It was an Inferno matchup with I don't even remember who the opponent was. That's how good it was. That he wiped.
That's how irrelevant the other team was.
Yeah, he made them irrelevant. He had back-to-back clutches. It was really incredible. Really just absurd.
Okay.
I think he had an ace clutch on pistol round.
Mm-hmm.
And then he backed it up with another insane clutch. Let me see. What was the match? I need to see who he was playing. This is very necessary for me. It was Ethereal, I think.
Okay, so not too bad.
On Inferno, yeah, they wound up 16-4ing them. He was 28-7.
Okay.
He's really good at this Counter-Strike thing.
Yeah, that's that's an okay score. Okay, you know what?
Predator has been nutty. It's
Just in
actually
general.
Predator has been nutty. I mean, in general, but in their like playoff matches, he hit a collat op shot to take a 3K to just hold a site and take a round on Mirage.
Pretty sure I watched that.
I had a clip. It was great. It was legit. Predator's been impressing. Jimmy always has his moments in playoffs where it's just like he's not washed yet.
Yeah, not quite yet. He's still got a little bit to go. That's for sure. And I actually like that you're pointing out these people because like these guys are MDL caliber. Like obviously
100%.
Predator has been there.
Mhm.
Who's the other? Devastation or just Dev. Also has been in the MDL before. Like these guys have the experience and the talent. They're in the advanced final. They'll probably go through the relegation tournament. So like they're more than likely gonna get there. I just don't know if they beat Team One in the final because I'm taking them.
Team One, I mean, again, Team One is the Titan to overcome, right? Team One had an amazing run through advance. They had a really strong run through advance. Don't get me wrong; they are very good. They are pretty much unparalleled, especially online. But I believe the big frames can be the giant slayers here. It's like Jack and the Beanstalk. I think big frames they're gonna out FIFA fo fum Team One, and they're gonna take their way through to the finals.
They're gonna out FIFA fo fum. All right,
I went there. They're gonna chop down the beanstalk that Team One had been building all season, and they're going to send them plummeting down to earth, and they're gonna take that first place.
All right, so transitioning, big frames, Team One, two teams that are gonna be in the relegation tournament coming up on August 28th. I believe the first of its kind. I mean, it is because it's the first advanced season. This is the first MDL relegation we're gonna get, and we're so close to getting all the teams announced. If they had just invited Intact, this would have been so much simpler.
Did that come through my mic?
A little bit.
There was a big old peal of thunder right near my house. So I guess I'm getting a thunderstorm. But anyways, on with the show.
Yes.
Just wasn't sure if that came through the mic.
So
it is
just a little bit.
It's really exciting actually. I like this format. I'm a little worried. I think one of the big issues with relegation and one of the things that's so difficult about relegation is because one match knocks you out, right?
Yeah.
You can wind up in a situation where some very skilled younger players get nervous and choke in sort of these big moments in these big situations. Now, in some ways, that's a good thing because it sort of gatekeeps the less experienced players in the lower divisions, allows them to farm up more experience, get more time and exposure, and settle into the situations. But on the other hand, I don't know. There's a direct rejection, right? But because they're cutting the size of the league, there's no direct promotion.
Yeah, they're picking 4 teams to go up.
Just hurts. It hurts. It's gonna hurt because I feel like there are more than 4 teams that are qualified to be in the MDL next season.
You feel like there should be?
I feel like there are in this relegation tournament. I feel like you could find more because it used to be like top 8 went, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's gonna suck to be in this first one where they're cutting the size of it in a big way. Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, only 4 of you are gonna make it. You got to make quarterfinals of this tournament to make MDL.
Yeah, and to be fair, it is double elimination, so you don't just take the loss and be like, well, sucks to suck. At least like you get the extra chance, but then if you get knocked out, then yeah, you're done. And I do like the format though. It'll be super fun. But before the relegation tournament, we have the pre-relegation tournament. The thing that triggers me beyond belief. The 9th through 16th teams of advanced are fighting for their one spot all over again. And
yeah, I agree.
It's
dumb.
I also don't like how it's all staggered, like the different dates of them. Because in classic ESEA fashion, you can reschedule and things like that. So it's just like one staggered mess. And then it's like, okay, now like once you guys are all done, reconvene on the 28th. Like, I don't like it.
I would agree. I think it'd be better to just get them all on a server and be like, you're playing this day. It's not like they're going to be like, no, we're not playing this day. We're not going to play
Yeah.
for a shot at MDL. Like,
Yeah,
you just tell them,
exactly.
like, this is the day and it's happening.
Just be like, if one of you doesn't show up, we're just going to send intact.
But to be fair, okay, that'd be great. But to be fair, also, if they did that, people would be all over the forums and all over Reddit going, the SCA won't let us schedule. They're monsters. They're just trying to make our day terrible. They won't let me into MDL with my 9-16. 9-7.
And then for a fact that they'd sign up the next year.
Exactly. Everyone complains so much about ESEA. You all still play it.
Yeah.
Don't give me that business.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to cry all day, and then I'll see you next season, boys.
Now I'm going to log on and play some pugs.
But you know what? I will say this. This is giving my boys, Mentality Esports, another chance at the title.
Another chance.
Another chance.
Baby.
They got my boy, shot. World champions, Mentality Esports. All right. They got the path. They got the path set. All right. They got to face what is now considered the 8th seed, which was the 16th seed in Reform. So they're gonna clap those boys, and then they gotta play Uber to your crib or In Control, and then they're gonna clap those boys. And then whoever they gotta play in the finals, it'll probably be Guerrilla Tactics or Glaucoma, and then they're gonna clap them too, and it's gonna be all over for the boys. But then
easy clapka.
It might get really tough for Mentality in the actual relegation tournament. So we'll see about that.
So Mentality's your pick to make it through pre-relegation.
Hell yeah, it is.
Hey.
Hell yeah, it is.
I don't know that I have a pick, honestly. I doubt that whatever team makes it through pre-relegation will make it through relegation. It's going to be a tough relegation. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, yeah.
It's going to be brutal. But it would be a hell of a Cinderella story if they make it through. If one of the relegation teams makes it through, first of all, Intact will be so mad. And second of all, I will call it the biggest Cinderella story ever. We'll make
the biggest out of it. We'll take the Cinderella story starring Hilary Duff and we'll make a new Photoshop out of it with all the faces of Mentality.
I'm thinking we should do this for promotion every week, to be honest with you.
Oh, hell yeah. You send me the idea, I craft it. It'll be beautiful.
We'll do shitty shops. Shitty shops is our new advertising mechanism.
Hashtag shitty shops.
Hashtag high budge.
The relegation tournament, regardless of the pre-relegation tourney, because I don't think anybody that even wins that is gonna come out of it victorious, regardless of which team it is. Mm-hmm. So team predictions, you go one, I go one. We'll go like that.
Okay. Team predictions, you go one, I go one. All right, I'm gonna start with my boys in the finals of Advanced. Big Frames. It's Jimmy's time, man. It's Nerf's time.
It is.
Believe.
He crafted the whole league himself just to get to the next level.
I believe. No, I think he's gonna. I don't know. I really like that team. I think the addition of Predator was perfect for them. I think that they're playing really well. I think that they have a lot of confidence, and that at this point, this team, which has been playing together, the core of it's been playing together for a little while now, has enough confidence and faith in themselves and their chemistry that they can make it happen. You know, even if one player's not performing, the rest of the team can step up, and so I think they're making it out.
All right, my first pick, the eventual champions of the advanced inaugural season, the Brazilians, Team 1. Kind of an expected pick, though. They're looking hot right now. As the great Freakazoid once said, we hot, and that is the mentality that I think Team 1's going into with the relegation tournament in mind. So
I think that one potential pitfall for Team 1, and admittedly, my next pick is Team 1 as well, so I'm just going to go into this. I think that I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I think that what might trip Team 1 up is something that has tripped previous teams up. See NRG at the major qualifier, at the minor.
Yeah.
They're expected. They're expected to go through. If they don't go through, it will be a huge disappointment in a way that not a lot of these other teams have that kind of expectation on them. Because Team 1 are here. They're here from Brazil. They have a legitimate org behind them. They're putting money into it. They expect results. So there's that level of pressure on them where if they don't perform, their status, their future, their jobs, those could all be at risk. Yeah. So I think that, yes, they likely will make it. They're one of my picks, but that pressure could get into their heads, and that could be a downfall.
It really is a double-edged sword. It's kind of like you have all this pressure that's put onto you, so you're freaking out, but at the same time, it's like you don't want to go back home, so you got to work your ass off even harder to make sure that you don't. So the question is whether or not they let the pressure like sink them or help them rise up. Maybe they grip the mouse a little bit too tight, much like in hockey when they say that you grip the stick a little bit too tight.
Claw grip, shatter your mouse.
Yeah, exactly. we're gonna get some pauses in the middle of the game, like, oh sorry, TRK just broke his mouse.
Fist through the monitor, Summit style.
Yeah. All right. So my next pick, your 2 picks so far, Big Frames Team 1, the advanced finals. I'm gonna go with the surprise pick here. And even before the show, you were like, "Whoa, you're going with this pick," and you damn right I am. I'm going all in, balls to the wall. My Mexicano boys, 46-2.
I don't know what on earth you saw in them this season made you pick this.
Here's the thing. I didn't see a lot. Mostly because there's really not a lot to see. However, I do like Cobra and I do like Stay Frosty. I'm not 100% keen on the Mexican trio. I think Kinky's okay. Gonak it's okay, I guess. So I'm really banking on the Cobra Stay Frosty combo here. At the end of the season, they were beating up on admittedly bad teams. However, I do think that going into it, they've stayed together this whole season. They went through an entire MDL season together. You just gotta make it through this one tournament. So as much of a dark horse pick that it is, I do think they're going through. I think they're coming back for another season.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see you. I see the call.
Hey, I'm not the the classic like expected Balti, just picking all the teams that are like expect. Okay, I got to go for some bold picks every once in a while here, Darth.
Yeah, I feel it. I don't feel that they're gonna make it though. I feel the boldness of the pick. I don't. They gave me nothing. They gave me nothing. That was like, no, nah.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't got it.
Yeah, it's not a lot to go off of, but
no,
I'm believing.
My next pick is Atmosphere, and I'm gonna be completely honest. The reason I'm picking Atmosphere is not so much for what they did this season. And admittedly, it looks nothing like the team that they had 2 seasons ago. But damn, the team they had 2 seasons ago was so good. What happened?
So you're going off the storied history of Atmosphere.
2 seasons ago.
The very triumphant story that is old Atmosphere. You're just these guys.
Black Ice put together a very decent run in MDL, a very strong run even in MDL 2 seasons ago, right? Mm-hmm. It was off the back of a very different composition, but it was a team that was strong. I believe that the man deserves another shot at the crown. This season didn't go according to plan. Didn't work out quite as well. He had a lot of players leave from that old roster. It was chaos. It was confusion. It was discord. But I believe that team has in it the power to at least cling to MDL life.
Yes. And admittedly so, I do have a very similar pick. I am also going for the Atmosphere to somehow pull through. I know that we're like going for mostly like MDL teams besides the 2 advanced finalists, but like I feel like we're kind of underrating some of the advanced teams, but also at the same time, like I think we're just trying to give the benefit of the doubt. I know, but they're the advanced finalists. It's not the same.
But they're not the same team. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
I'm not hating on your picks. I'm hating on my own picks too. Come on.
All right. Talk about your last pick.
My last pick. The boys that I picked against in the quarterfinals of the advanced playoffs. Hysteria is gonna make it. This team is too good, especially online, to not make it. Their situation against the Fundamentals. I know I predicted the Fundamentals to win that game. That's okay. They're still gonna win it anyway. Because I don't think the Fundamentals are gonna do anything in this tournament. And if Hysteria gets paired up against them, I think they rematch and win it. This team is too good to lose in this tournament. And if they do, it's very unfortunate that they're going to have to sit in advance again, because I don't think that they should be at that level.
We'll see. I like the name Dangle.
You are not on the Hysteria hype train.
Look, what I'll say about Hysteria is Dangle and Bite both have great names for making casting puns. So I'm okay with being able to cast them some more, because those are great names. Mundle is just kind of fun to say. Just kind of fun to say. That's my takeaway on Hysteria. Yeah. I want to talk about my last pick, because there's two sides. I've cheated. I put two teams here. There's the team that I want to make it. There's the team that I think will actually make it and make me sad. I'm going to start with the team that I'd love to make it, who we'll see. I'd love whatever it takes to make it. First
it would be nice.
SFX, it would be great to have him in MDL. Iron Man, it would be awesome to have Iron Man in MDL. The man, I like what the man has done with his roster. I remember when they upset Gorilla Core at Frag 11, and he came on with the interview and he was talking about his young team and how he was coaching them up and teaching them life lessons. And Iron Man's just like everyone's dad. He's everyone's dad. He is the dad. He was the dad at Fragadelphia 12. Man grilled 300 burgers on the street of Philadelphia, Northeast Philadelphia.
Does your dad do that, bro?
Literally,
I don't think so.
He was just grilling, and he was such a man that random girls who none of us knew came up and just tried to talk to him. Because
that's classic.
He was just too much of a man's man. Just drinking a 30-pack of Miller and grilling burgers. Man,
that is a man's man right there. If you need the ideal dad bod or dad frame, just Iron Man encapsulates it all into the dad being.
He's not quite dad bod yet. But
yeah, very true. He's not quite big frames though.
Wears the freshest clothes, man. So I have a lot of faith in whatever it takes. I also just love the storyline. I love watching this team. Boomy, I think is a legit player.
For sure. I agree.
I think they can go far. I think that they can make it. That's my dream. I'd love to see them make it. I'd love to see them qualify for MDL.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's the team that I think is going to do it just to piss me off. I think Subtle is going to qualify. I think Subtle's going to stay alive. And I think there's a few reasons. First of all, Ocean is the immortal MDL. He's the Twinkie of MDL. He is Cher of MDL. He will never die in MDL. He will stay in MDL forever and ever and ever and ever. And he'll never go beyond MDL. And he'll never have aspirations of going on beyond MDL. But he will stay in MDL. Second, most of that team doesn't give a shit. Most of the time in regular season. They're stream team. I don't know. Maybe they do. But it doesn't seem like they give a shit. But here's what's going to happen. They're faced with getting relegated to advance. Their egos will not allow that. They're going to give a shit. They're suddenly going to care. And they're suddenly going to care enough to keep a team that actually cares regularly out of the MDL. So they will qualify. Here's what's going to happen. I don't like it, but it's what's going to happen. Balti's so upset he's just walking away. He's just walking away. He's so pissed at me. He's just going to walk away from this. Don't you walk away from me, Balti. No. So Subtle is just not going to is going to suddenly give a shit. They're suddenly going to try and care and play like disciplined, smart play. And they're going to keep some poor team that will actually care out. And then they'll keep the spot. And they'll immediately when next season starts again, they will instantly not give a shit once more. Instantly.
Are you done now?
Was my rant? My rant.
All right. This is where I refute. Okay.
Okay.
I can't let you take this away from me. Okay. This moment in my life where for the first time I get to see an oceanless MDL, and I make it seem like I hate this person.
Scotty's been playing qualifiers with, or Ocean's been playing qualifiers with other teams. He ain't going nowhere.
If I get this opportunity and I make it seem like I don't like Ocean, I think he's a cool guy, funny guy. But in this league, stop. Ocean, please stop with this incessant need to be in this actually like kind of competitive league where you just waste my time. I watch so many of these games, and then ESEA is like, yo, we're gonna cast a subtle game, and I go, but why? Like, you intentionally schedule yourselves on the 30-minute block to be there, and I just think, why do you do this to me, Ocean?
Because he loves you, Balti, and he loves the MDL.
Hey, I love my Canadian brethren back.
I can't fault the man for staying around. Man can hang. He can hang. He's been hanging for a long time.
I'm gonna be hanging. All right.
Wow.
Like,
Balti, it's okay.
From that light,
nope,
right there.
Too real. Too real.
Too real.
Also, I don't think that light fixture can support your weight.
Yeah, it definitely could not. It barely supports the light bulbs that are in it.
Yeah, too real.
Yeah.
Too real.
We're getting really meta.
It's okay, Balti. I don't know if that's meta or just really depressing. Yeah. But anyway,
both.
So my hope pick, the hopeful part of my soul says that whatever it takes is going to take that 4th spot. The part of my cynic, the realistic cynic part of my soul says that Subtle's going to somehow stay alive. And they're gonna just exist to frustrate me and not care. The thing is, they're really good players. There's some really good players on there. I hate when teams don't care. You know?
Yeah.
It's a slot that could be given to a team that does care and it's hungry to prove themselves and to get better. And you're there and you're occupying space and you don't have any aspirations of going beyond it, you know?
Yeah. Like, it's a combination of, like, when they don't care, if they win, you just kind of robbed a team that might be able to go into a game that's much more competitive, and you just kind of, like, gave them an L. And then when you lose, what if you just gave, like, prospects a dub that put them in the playoffs, and you just wasted all of our time and gave us a prospects playoffs? Like, there's so many problems that could go with these free wins and excruciating losses from these guys being in the league. It just creates a whole problem.
My thing is, if you're going to be a stream team, be like Mythic. At least give a shit. Like, come out to LAN and give a shit. Like, they cared when they were playing. After they were knocked out, they were like, whatever, that was fun. Let's party. Like, they don't really care about actually making it that much, but they care when they're playing matches.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to try to win at least.
Yeah. I don't know. I just... Anyway.
Yeah. It's questionable.
Ranting.
Yes. So... ranting about that. That subject.
Time to find other things to rant about, Balti.
Yes. So we'll move on then, because we got more topics for you. We're going to talk about a little bit of roster movement going on in the scene, and the player break is giving us some juicy stuff. All right. First off, accelerate. Loner and Twice, you gone. Get out of here. It's just T Connors, AGM, and DJ left, and they're looking for 2.
I've got a fair amount of insight into this because I spoke to AGM the day after these roster moves happened.
I figured.
Yeah, I hit that Darf talk. For anyone who wants to check it out, go check out the VOD. Yeah, we broke down the roster moves in depth, the reasons behind it. Basically, with Loner and Twice, what it was with Twice was Twice just wasn't available to play the way that they wanted to play. He wasn't available to play the qualifiers that they wanted to play. He wasn't available to go to LAN. He was, he's a busy man. He's doing other things with his life, and it just wasn't a possibility for him. So they realized that, you're a really good player. Like, we'd love to play with you, but you're just not at the point where you're willing to commit to the same level that the rest of our players are. So it's all right. Yeah. We'll move on from Twice. Then Loner, they wanted to change the way that this team was structured, and Loner was being asked to play a role that he'd never played before. And he just made the decision. I think they mutually made the decision that it just wasn't going to work for him. Honestly, what AGM said is he thinks Loner's a really good player, and he thinks the way they were using him last season hurt his confidence and was not good for him as a player.
Yeah.
They asked him to be more passive than he was previously, and that he thinks that actually hurt his style a little bit.
And even then, he still had an okay season, at least statistically and individually. It was still a decent season for him.
Yeah, it was a decent season. I think he's gonna find a different team, and I think he's gonna find himself as a player a little bit more. So, talking about the roster moves here, it's exciting. They've got an org behind them now. They've got a coach behind them, at least some of the time.
Coach Ruin.
Yeah, and then we've got some interesting faces, some familiar faces to me.
Ooh.
One in particular who I've done a Dark Talks with, who I know is trialing with them soon.
Ooh.
Some people who used to wear horned helmets. Some Vikings, some Raiders of the Coast.
Eye emojis.
We've
Eye
got
emojis in the
they're
chat.
they're currently doing some trialing, some scrims with Com,
Mhm.
C0M, and Sidestep of Vikings fame.
Huge pickups.
I love it personally.
Huge.
I love it. I love both the players. I like that whole team. I'm sad that they died. I am still sad that they died. That was my like sweetheart
Mhm.
Cinderella pick. They came out of Maine, top of Maine. Like they qualified from Maine. They were actually doing pretty well in MDL.
Mhm.
Like they had a decent season. If they hadn't fallen apart at the end, they could have avoided relegation. I'm
Oh,
confident.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
believe that
confident
as
of that.
well.
This is a team that if they had stayed together, should not have been relegated. And part of it, the first step was that Terrorize, his priority shifted. He stepped down from playing competitive CS.
Mhm.
They lose Terrorize. They're trying to bring someone else in. They brought in who are they playing with? I'm trying to remember.
Is
It's
it
eluding me.
is it Fisher or Skywalker?
Yeah, it was Mr. Fisher.
It was Fisher. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then Khan made the decision to step down for the season. And he was figuring out his life priorities. So they lost Calm, who was like their star player in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
and the team just couldn't quite stay together. It was rough. It was rough boy hours. So I'm kind of curious about who they're going to play this relegation tournament with. I'm not actually sure.
I can't imagine that they wouldn't with those guys. If they are putting in the time to trial with them and scrim with them and stuff like that, I think they'd pull through with it.
I think
Especially with
that
the talent that the two bring.
yeah, it'll be interesting. One thing I'm really excited for this team is OpGM is back. AGM's back on the op.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he's gonna
Is
do it. He's coming back as an offer.
That's heat.
It's gonna happen.
That's heat. I
And
like that.
DJ is off of entry. They're trying to form control roles for the three remaining players.
Mhm.
And give them the opportunity to play the way they want to play, and then they
Yeah.
want to build a team around that. So they're looking for an entry, they're looking for like space that way, and I think that they have the potential to do quite well next season. I'm excited for this team in general.
All right.
Now, should we talk about the next one?
Oh, yes, sir. A new team that just entered, well, not a new team, but a new face within this team. Vision has let go of Land Hero, and they have brought in the very slick Asian VSA. And this one for me is a little bit of a head scratch, but at the same time, it's not. It's a mixed feeling for me, considering VSA is actually quite good. Coming into this, I feel like he's possibly an improvement, but the team was doing good.
Yeah,
So
That's the thing.
it's like I don't understand. I don't understand the decision, especially considering now there's like this question of like opping roles, because it used to be Land Hero and Hune kind of is it Hune? Huen? I've always said Hune for some reason. So Huen.
It's just a
Huen.
super common Vietnamese name.
Huen. So Huen and Land Hero shared that op role. Now it's going to be Huen and VSA. And I wish that Land Hero was given more time. I think it was just a preemptive switch to also not let go of a free agent as talented as VSA is.
Yeah, I mean, I have mixed opinions about it too. I think that teams and orgs undervalue continuity. I think that it's a common thing especially in the MDL, where everyone's just trying to find that winning formula, trying to just swap out the pieces until you get that superstar roster. I think that continuity is undervalued. I think that team had great chemistry, and I loved the way they were playing. Having watched them in Tulsa, having watched them at Frag, like on LAN, I loved the way they were playing. I loved the fact that they did some things that were counter meta, like when playing with the XM on Nuke. I will still love that. I think it's entering the meta because of him, literally because of him. I know it's not maybe the top tier, but I watched Dignitas Fee. I watched Artstar pick up the XM and play his similar spots, trying to do the same thing. So I loved the way they were playing. I loved the way they were calling. I liked the coordination. I liked the team and the chemistry in general. They won a LAN in Tulsa not too long ago. They had a disappointing loss to Blackout and at Frag, but you're gonna take some L's sometimes.
Yeah.
And, this is nothing on VSA. I have a lot of respect for VSA as a player.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think that picking up VSA is the right move if you wanted to get rid of Land Hero. I just I don't like moves for move's sakes. Move's
Yeah.
sake.
It's just like, we're just gonna do this because we can.
Yeah.
It should really be about, let's make this team good by seeing where it goes, because they're already pretty good.
They were top 2 of MDL.
Yeah.
They lost to Bravado, but that's Bravado. Come on.
Yeah, your 7th seed boys went to the finals. The first time we've seen a 7-8 seed in the finals. Like, to be fair, they lost, but they still came second in the league. So like, it's just premature. It was a move that I feel like could have been avoided.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we don't know what's going on in the internal. Based on
Very
what I
true.
saw them at Lands and how they were talking, it seemed like the team was doing fine, like they were having fun, like they were enjoying themselves. But
Mhm.
obviously, it's harder when you lose. Like losing at Philadelphia may
Oh,
have brought
yeah.
out something that wasn't there previously. Like the true show of resilience is how you do when you lose, right? It's always been that way. So we don't know what's going on behind the scene. I don't love the move because I love the way they were playing previously. I thought Land Hero brought a lot to the table as a leader and as he was doing good stuff. But I guess it remains to be seen. VSA is a great pickup.
Oh,
VSA
100%. Yeah.
Pro League experienced. He brought the Rise Nation roster to the cusp of Pro League. Couldn't quite get them over the edge, but he got them right to the cusp.
Yeah.
He did some great things with various teams. He's we'll see. We'll see what they can bring.
Very true. And they've actually added in Markledon as their coach as well. So a little bit extra XP under their belt. So I'm sure he'll do quite well for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do not 100% understand the coach role. I probably understand it more of like an analytical kind of person on the team.
A lot of it. I mean, from the mental aspect of it, players like Floppy, Spongy, Caboose, younger players. It's about having people who have been there before, who have been in their shoes, who understand the feelings that they're going through, and have the ability to like calm them and stabilize them and be like, "Get out of your head, get into the server."
Yeah, they are the dads of the team.
Dad of the team, especially at this level where players are so young.
Yeah, for sure. So next up, Vireo Pro, trialing Stellar and Robbie, as well as Rustin moving to the coach role. So Ponalone and Paperboy and ZNF are staying in the original team, and now they're bringing in Robbie and Stellar. And I really like these two pickups. I think it just adds another level and also really helps to bridge the gap losing one Motum. Yeah. It really helps in terms of the fragging power, especially with Rustin moving to coach. Rustin, as of late, at least from what I've seen, hasn't been playing at the highest level that this team should expect from him or would need from him. And I feel like with the additions of Robbie and Stellar, they kind of move up in terms of the fragging power.
I know they'd been, even before MOTM made the decision to leave, I know they'd been talking about swapping out Rustin. Or finding a new fifth for Rustin and Rustin moving roles for a while ago. I think it had been in the cards pretty much.
Yeah, it's something that I think just needed to happen to the team.
Sure. And Robbie and Stellar are big pickups. Stellar is interesting to me because if Stellar cares, Stellar is really good.
Yeah.
But, last season Stellar left the team, which I get it, it's not a move up season. He left at the time Squirtle Squad in the lurch. And I get it. It's not a move up season. Motivation can lag. Motivation can wane. But still, you got to, at some point at this level of CS, you got to have that real hunger to dominate League CS to be able to succeed, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Question of commitment there. If he's committed, though, great pickup.
I mean, even in open, like he at least committed to the season and is like going through playoffs and is still doing quite well for the Hentai Hooligan.
You think he was practicing in open?
I think he was just farming.
Yeah, there's a difference between farming open and practicing for MDL, playing for MDL.
I don't believe that he was practicing for MDL. Like he was just like, I'm going to leave and I'm just going to quick do this. Like I think it was more just like, I just honestly want to farm kids. And he just went in and just pooped on them all.
Just full Stellar farm.
Exactly.
Full Stellar farm.
So
he had in the Stellar performances.
All right, that's enough out of you. So thinking of farming, new AZO lineup.
Oh,
Frosty K, Snakes,
oh,
One Modem, Grim, Hunter Shonk. Thoughts?
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's
I'm
I
excited.
look at that roster and I just go
Also, crucial
it
piece,
like
Bibby as coach.
yes, and the Bibby as coach. This team about to make money moves.
I'm really one of the reasons I'm most excited for this is I think this is an ideal situation for Snakes to come back to competitive play in. I think this is an ideal situation. That was one of the things when I was in Tulsa and I was actually talking to Bibby because Bibby was there
Mhm.
with Azio, old Azio, in sort of a guest trialing coaching role. And we were talking about it. We were talking about Snakes' return to CS because obviously he was super familiar with him from the SOAR days. Um, and we were talking about the fact that, you know, for an ideal situation for Snakes to come back, he's still a 16-year-old kid. He's sort of a quiet dude. He's a pretty reserved dude.
Mhm.
Um, the ideal situation would be one where he's comfortable and being able to play with MOTM, one of his, a very good friend, very good teammate, Grim from that old Broken Alliance SOAR roster,
Mhm.
and Bibby in the coaching role. It couldn't be more comfortable for him, you know. And
Yeah,
so I
and
think,
then two extra teammates that are actually just quite good at the game as well.
yeah, yeah,
And like he has his friends and then he has a good supporting cast. Like the whole ensemble just kind of works.
I love
So
it.
it'll be interesting to see how they actually play in the server. But that is all we have for roster movements. And then we'll move on to the MSI MGA North America qualifier. There isn't too much that I want to talk about going into it because the event went quite as expected. In the first round, there was no real upsets. It went exactly the way that the event should have gone. In the
Mhm.
second round, Ghost was playing with Crystal at this event, but he was playing from Europe. The man's was rocking about 140 to 150 ping.
That's rough.
So they
Rough play
lose
hours.
2-0 to a FAM 143 Pug. It featured J Chance and Nex, who are actually on the team. And then I believe it was G Man, Four Shot, and Clum. So 3 players who are not FAM 143 natives. So it was a rough 2-0, especially the fact that Ghost didn't even get a map. But that's the way it goes when you're playing with a European who has 150 ping. So that was in a way an upset, but almost kind of expected as well. Round 3 goes no surprises. And then we get to round 4. And this is where this is the main
The
juicy
final.
juicy part that I want to get to talk to you about, especially because
Mhm.
you are an E United fan.
I'm an E
And
United fan.
I am also an E United fan, so I would like to set that precedent.
Mhm.
But I'm typically their hardest critic, I guess. So they win a 30 round Mirage game. So good. They beat Complexity on Mirage. And then they go 32-11 over the next 2 maps. And my
I thought Train
question,
was the first map.
it was, yeah, sorry. It was the first map was Train, and then they won the 30 round Mirage game. And then the next
Mhm.
map, they lose. So, yeah, Train was 16-1, and then they got 16-10. So, my question to you is when does E United hit that next level since they've been together for about 5 months now?
I think that they're there, and I think that this really illuminated for it. I think that I liked what they did as a mix in Philadelphia with some of the players. I mean, I just love the level of some of the players. I think that it's going to be exciting to see them play a full season of EPL and a full season of ECS in conjunction, and to just sort of get into that regular pool of really high competition. Because at this point, the only real team that they should have feared, and the only real team that they did fear, was Complexity. Everyone else, it's like, yeah, we should beat them, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And Complexity, the 16-1 is rough, but
Yeah.
one thing about United is they are very momentum. They can be an emotional team. They can be a momentum-based team when they're on a big way, and when they're off, they're off. And Train can be a momentum-based map in that if you can't get your economy under you, you're done. So you're done. You're
Very
out.
true. Yeah, you're done now.
So
Big
I'm
shot.
impressed that they managed to come back from a 16-1 on Train and then battle out a 16-14 on Mirage.
Mhm.
I think that's perfectly fair. I think complexity is just made a major. They're in really strong form right now. Ye is a god. I mean,
Yeah, he's a special man.
Ye is I don't know. Ye's crush. So the whole team, I mean, with Stanislaw, with Shazam, it's a good squad. It's a really strong, good squad. Um, so it's disappointing for E United. And I think that, you know, you throw them together 10 matches, 10 series against E United or against Complexity. I think they take 3 or 4 of those at this point. But you're right. I do think they can take another step. I think they can get to another level. And I think that this next season is going to be very interesting to see whether they do so.
See, because here's my problem. I feel like they're coasting on this entry to pro league. So they get their spot, and now it's just like there's no need to push forward. Continuously over and over again, we see them losing qualifiers, second place, third place, never going anywhere. And
Mhm.
complexity is typically this hump that they need to get over time and time again. So you look at like the DreamHack Valencia qualifier, they beat complexity. They're like in the semis, they're like, yes, we beat complexity. We're going to go. And then Luminosity happens. And Luminosity gets to go to Valencia, and they're stuck. You look at the Cologne Open qualifier, just to get to the close. They were gifted that spot because after Mythic beat them in overtime on train, they said, like the organizer said, Mythic, you can't stream. So you know what they did? They threw in the towel and were like, we don't want this 1-0 lead. Just have the whole series. Give these guys the closed qualifier entry. There you go. Also, E United not going to Cologne. So there you go. They go to the close qualifier. They finish third, which sounds good at first glance. Then you realize they lost to LG in the upper bracket. Then they go to the lower bracket. They meet Complexity again, who forfeit. And E United beat LG in the lower bracket round 2, which, okay, that's decent. And then they just end up losing to Optic's new Danish lineup in round 3. So once again, another outing. These guys went to DreamHack Austin, not from qualifying for it. They went to the qualifier, lost, and then got invited after the fact. So they didn't even really earn this spot, and then they didn't even make playoffs. When's the turn up? That's what I want to know.
I guess what I would say is at this point they're mixing up with the they previously played, right? Your complexities, your rogue, your luminosity, your that sort of below the top tier of pro league, below that top tier of NACS. You're not your liquids, you're not your Cloud9s, you're not your SKs, or I guess MIBRs, whatever they are now. It's an American roster at this point, as far as I'm concerned. You know, you're below that top tier. You're not quite competing at that level, but at the same time, they took maps off of them at ECS. So they've shown they can compete. They've shown they have the potential to achieve the level. Maybe not there where it's consistent yet. They're maybe not there where they are a strong presence at this level yet. But they're definitely, I would say, they're head and shoulders above where they were when they were in MDL, right?
Very true. With the addition of Relics, I feel like pushed them a little bit forward.
So this team is significantly better than they were as an MDL team when they were top of MDL. So they're not a team that I expect to see in relegation. They're not a team that I expect to see get dropped. They're frankly, I think they're better than X-Splice right now. Boxer,
whatever that team is. When was the last time they played a match?
It's been a while. It's been a minute. Who's their fifth? Because they don't have fates anymore.
I don't even think they have one.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to judge.
It's literally just 4 guys in limbo. Like, hey guys.
It's kind of hard to judge a roster at that point. It's hard to judge a roster. Who knows? But I think that they have steps to take before they become a team on tier with, or that can consistently beat a complexity or consistently beat a rogue. And I think that rogue sort of is a bit of a roadmap, if you will, because rogue had a long time where they were in a sort of similar situation. They were here. They were always in the fight, but they were always ultimately kind of disappointing. They never really made qualifiers. They never really won qualifiers. They never really got to lands. They never really got that last step of getting the lands and competing. And they just made a major.
And then Cadian decided to turn up on all the Americans.
To be a god.
So here's the key. Drop
Euro.
One of these United players, could be any of them, and then just get a Euro.
Nah, we gotta have an all
simple solution. I mean, look at NRG. Look at NRG. Nothing until Cirque came into it. Nothing.
I don't know. We're losing. We're diluting all pure. We don't have a pure NA roster anymore. Really, they've all been diluted. We have Cloud9 is going full Euro at this point. They've got a Euro IGL and they've got Stico as the Euro support. You've got Liquid, which has Taco. I mean, he's Brazilian. He's lived in the US for long enough. At some point, we're just going to adopt him too. So they're close. They're close to be, but they've got a Brazilian coach and a Brazilian. They're close, but it's a little iffy. Like you look at the one out of the corner of your eye, like, you've got NRG, who their star player is not slightly American. Like Cirque is crushing it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
We've got a bunch of like diluted American teams. We've got Renegades, who are basically American at this point, between Nifty and Ryu, and living in Detroit. And but they've also got JKim, so they're an international team at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know. We need true blue American or North American roster because they're Canadian as well.
Yes.
So you need that true blue North American roster. You need that NA roster to root for. And Rise is gonna not rise. United is gonna rise up from the ashes, if you will.
Yeah.
They're gonna do it.
A little callback.
We'll call back.
So yeah, that's all I wanted to bring up about MSI, because that was the only glaring kind of issue that I had with it, is just waiting for this team that I've loved to watch so much. But I love to watch them win, and that's why I have a problem, because they aren't.
Yeah. I'll defend them for a while. I think they've got a long time. I think this roster has enormous potential.
Yes.
And I think they're going to continue. And we're going to get on one thing that I want to shout out before we wrap this up, folks. Our very own Balti Baby, my co-host here, has gone full-time esports. Woo! Full-time esports, baby. Full-time, baby.
Dab.
That's huge. That's big.
Dabbing on
risk. You're jumping into the unknown.
It is a risk. Luckily, though, my mom supports me, so haha. I bet my mom supports me more than your mom supports me. Got him.
All right, it's a weird slant to take.
Yeah, no, it's it. Yeah.
Take back all the nice things I just said about you, Balti. Get out of here.
Yo, this guy's going full robot as he hates.
Am I? Damn it.
A little bit, but yeah, I'll say this just so that way you don't have to speak and ruin our ears. Yeah, if you go on like Dust 2 from today, pretty much everything that was written today is me, just because I am pounding articles out, going full time, and then I did the show today. Premiere Podcast is coming back. Fantasy is coming back. Everything's coming back.
Yeah.
I'm going hardcore full time.
Back to back.
So yeah.
Back. Fantasy champ right here. It's gonna happen.
And hey, we're gonna see more beautiful photoshops by me, because the production value is just gonna skyrocket for this show. It's gonna go insane.
I'm feeling it.
So yeah, keep it tuned in here at twitch.tv/NerdStreetGamers. Follow, hit that bell button so that way you get notified every time we go live. And subscribe. And if you got a Twitch Prime, you haven't used it on any other streamer, make sure you use that Twitch Prime on twitch.tv/NerdStreetGamers.
And also follow us on Twitter.
Yes.
At DarthMike and at BaltiBaby. And we're about to we're gonna go now. So tune in next week.
Yes.
Same time.
Yes.
Same place, same faces.
And robo voices.
Am I still robotic? I hate this. Discord hates me, folks. Discord hates me.
Okay, bye. Stop this. Get this kid out of here.